Hello, metalheads, and welcome to episode 46 of the Harsh Vocals Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Corbett, and with me is my good friend, Christian Renner. How are you doing today, man?
I've been better, but the music's good, so we'll just focus on that.
Yeah, story of my life.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You're not wrong about the music. This has been an absolutely incredible 2-week cycle. So many great albums. It's kind of been pretty amazing for the last 3 or 4 months, honestly. And looking at what's coming for the next few weeks, there's even more incredible stuff on the horizon. So 2025 is trying really hard to finish strong.
And
I don't think we're going to
doing a great job.
I don't think we're going to reach the lofty heights of 2024, but man, I'm super impressed with everything that's come out recently.
Oh, yeah. It's so strong lately. I mean, as you know, our super extensive list of honorable mentions. And I mean, this time even I noticed that I forgot 4 of them from our last episode that I had written down somewhere else. So I'm going to have to add them to this one because they are legit good. So, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, more music for our listeners to seek out. So who can really complain?
Yeah.
All right, let's get right into it. First up is an album that you and I both absolutely loved, a very fun death metal album. It's from the band Soul Grinder.
Yes, we have Soul Grinder. The album is called Frozen Halls. We have death metal from Bremen, Germany. And this is their 3rd album from Black Sunset. The track that I picked is Malevolent Reality. And, you know, this basically just showcases this entire album in one song, because this is just as fun as the rest of the album. And if you like this, you're definitely going to like the rest of the album. I mean, they are really leaning into these old school, just heavy fucking riffs on this album, but they never lose any of those melodic moments that adds a lot of depth to it. Mm-hmm. But man, those riffs are fucking heavy, dude. I think what really draws me into this is that perfect balance of aggression and riffs that get your head nodding instead of going full-on tech death or adding too much melody. I mean, there's been quite a bit of old-school death metal revival the last few years, but this is not that. They do a masterful job of keeping focused on keeping that blend front and center. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not your straight-up old-school death metal. This is, you know, in that, what we've been talking about all year, that fun death metal.
It's groove. It's groovy.
Like,
I mean, that's. I think the groove is what kind of makes it fun, right? There's lots of riffs. It does have kind of a classic death metal feel, but there's a lot of groove kind of infused into it that makes the songs catchy, headbangable, and memorable. And that's really what I felt about the album too. Is like, it was one that I kept going back to over and over again because it was just so much fun to listen to. Death metal bands that are listening to us talk about their albums may not love that we call it fun death metal, but that's what it is for me. I mean, it's something that I can just put on when I'm having a good time or want to have a good time. And, you know, Soul Grinder, what a name. just like Toner Stab Wounds, just like Guts, just like so many of the other fun death metal bands we talked about. Yep. They're kind of in that same vein, but their sound is a little bit unique. It sounds a little bit more cavernous, I guess, than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
But
sounds
still
bigger.
Very much a fun album.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the best way for me to explain the fun death metal thing, for me anyway, is it reminds me of the things that I really like about thrash. Those pit moments, and like it just brings a smile to your face, a certain riff or whatever. And this fun death metal, quote unquote, has that. And it just, you can tell these guys are having a good time playing music. And if they're having a good time, you're probably going to have a good time.
It works for me. One thing you didn't mention is that this particular track you chose, in Spotify at least, it says that it features Assenblut on the song.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not super familiar with Assenblut, but I know that the drummer from that band is also in Soul Grinder. So maybe it was other members from that band that either contributed to the song or helped write it. I'm not entirely sure what their involvement was to earn the feature credit, but whatever it is, this song is just killer. The whole album is, and this is a really good representation of what the whole album sounds like. So if you like this, I highly recommend checking it out. So let's go ahead and play the track again. This is Soul Grinder off of their album Frozen Halls, and the track that Christian picked is Malevolent Reality.
Lightning
Love that riff, man.
Yeah, that's so fucking heavy. So heavy. And they lean into that heaviness. And I love that. And, you know, a lot of these fun death metal bands, they're doing that too. They're leaning into that heaviness. And, you know, I can't remember who the fuck it was that it's Frozen Crown, maybe, that I saw that had a fun death metal album. And I saw them earlier this year. And, like, you could just see them on stage and they're smiling as they're playing. I mean, how often do you see death metal bands that are smiling when they're playing? I mean, or laughing,
not
or
often.
joking around with each other. It's this isn't super serious. We're talking about ripping somebody's heart out through their chest, but hey, it's fun.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And that dense, heavy sound, I mean, I use the word cavernous to describe it. I really think that applies well to them because everything sounds like you're in this underground pit when you're listening to it.
Yeah.
It's not bad production by any stretch of the imagination, but just it I don't know, it summons that imagery to my mind as I'm listening to it. I adore this album. It's a lot of fun, and you can never get enough of that. So please check it out. So moving on, the second album we're going to talk about for the episode is from another death metal band, Scorching, and they put out an album called Ossuary. This is death metal from Canada, their debut album. They've been together since 2019. They've released a couple of EPs and singles, but this is their first full length. This album is not quite as fun, but it's a lot more like old school death metal, just kind of straight what you expect classic death metal to sound like. There's a lot of headbangable riffs on this thing. It is riffs from wall to wall. They also have a couple of guest appearances. The track that I picked is called Skullcrush, and it actually features Devin Swank from Sengwa Sugabog, who I'm sure everybody in the world is familiar with if you're listening to this podcast.
Point,
I'm not a huge fan of Sengwa Sugabog's like albums. There's always like singles that I love, and I like his voice a lot. I just feel like the albums as a whole just don't quite work for me. But on this track in particular, he absolutely kills it. And if you like this track, the melodies and the riffs that you hear are very indicative of everything else that you'll get throughout the album. So I highly recommend this one a lot. I returned to it probably 10 times over the last 2 weeks. It was a great another death metal album for me. What did you think of this one, Christian?
Yeah, I just, like, you keep mentioning the riffs, and I got to go back to that too. I mean, these riffs are like chef's kiss, just perfect for these songs. I mean, they're just so well fucking done. And then you just think about this, how many really good death metal albums we've had this year, and this is just another one you can add onto that pile, because this is right up there with everything else.
Yeah.
If we were just doing a death metal top 20, we could probably fill it, and it wouldn't be
easily.
overly difficult.
Now, this year has definitely been the year of death metal. Last year was all about atmospheric black metal and post-black metal, and there's been some great albums in those genres here too, but I sincerely feel like 2025 has been the year of death metal. Like, it's just been so many great releases. I'm pretty sure I could fill a top 40 for this year without much difficulty if I wanted to.
Yeah, it's not, and that's not being facetious here. I mean, there's been literally that much good death metal this year. It's kind of surprising, really. I mean, if you would have asked me at the end of last year, I would have told you that black metal is just going to continue to dominate. And yeah, death metal by fucking February was hold my beer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you would have been wrong for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and play the track. Again, this is Scorching Tomb off of their album Ossuary, and the track that I picked is called Skullcrush. Hope you guys enjoy it. What an apt title, too. Like Skullcrush.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that song just feels like a Skullcrush.
Oh, yeah. That riff feels like a Skullcrush, definitely.
It's so good. And it's a debut from these guys, so I'm really excited to see where they continue to go, because this is one of the strongest debuts we've had this year, I think.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. All right. We'll move on with a album that I was very much looking forward to as soon as I heard that they were coming back. This is one of my favorite bands from the 90s era of thrash metal. We have Coroner, who have returned with Dissonance Theory. We have Technical Thrash, and I would say that there's not a ton of bands doing this technical thrash stuff, but Coroner, they were doing technical thrash back in the fucking 90s. They have never switched off of this, and this sounds like it could have been released in like 1997, but I have to say, this does not sound dated in the slightest. So we have Coroner, Dissonance Theory. We have Tech Thrash from Zurich, Switzerland. This is their 6th album, and they are on Century Media Records. The track that I picked is Symmetry. And if it's thrash, you know why I picked this song, and it's because of the riff. And I gotta say, Coroner is easily one of the most criminally underrated bands ever. Not just in thrash, but in any sort of genre. They've completely been overlooked for how high quality they really are. These guys should easily be in that Testament, Creator, Exodus, Destruction kind of level, if not even a little bit bigger. And like when you saw them at Hell's Heroes, they even impressed you. And
yeah, that was really
super impressed everybody there.
Yeah, that was really my first exposure to them. I mean, I know they've been around for a very long time, since the 80s, and there was a lot of thrash and whatnot that I never just heard while I was growing up during those times, and Coroner was unfortunately a band that I overlooked. And leading up to Hell's Heroes, you sung their praises, and we talked a lot about how they were the first ones really doing progressive and technical kind of thrash and death combination like that back in the 80s and 90s. Seeing them perform, I mean, it was incredible. They're so good live, and for a band that's been around that long and waited so long between albums, because their last album came out in 93, and then their new one, Dissonance Theory, came out just this year. I mean, it's been 32 years since their last album, which that's a huge gap. So I was also tentatively kind of excited for this too, even though I don't have as much exposure to their legacy material. And even with that, I wasn't really prepared for how good this was going to be. The album's full of great progressive moments, great technical moments, lots of songs that really stick with you after you finish listening to it. It's an album that truly requires active listening, and an album that you'll listen to from beginning to end and then want to put on again from beginning to end. It's not really one where you'll hear a few songs and then move about your day and maybe return to it or whatever. When I'm listening to this, I want to hear the whole thing because it's a complete package, and you can tell that they took that time to sculpt what the album was supposed to be and to make it a complete package. It's really a well put together album, and one of my favorite thrash releases of the year for sure.
Man, I'm right there with you. It's like we said, it's been 32 years. The last album, Grin, in 1993. And by the way, I bought that album new. I went to the store and bought that because I'm old. So it's been a little while. It really feels like they've been cranking out albums this whole time because of how good this album is. This is not a nostalgia cash-in. These guys, you can tell this is a full return. Mm-hmm. This was not something that they just threw together to make a little bit of money.
They had 32 years to work on it.
Very complex. Yeah, this is a very complex album, and it really shows. And I love that they didn't give us just a repackaged version of previous albums. This is one of the best technical thrash albums I've ever heard, ever. And, and when you consider it's Coroner, you're just like, yeah, I can see that. I mean, if you like thrash at all, or even if you just dig progressive music, you're probably going to like this.
Yeah.
There's so many elements in here. You have to be okay with a little bit of harsh vocal. But otherwise,
if you're listening to this podcast, you'll enjoy the album. That's pretty much what it comes to.
Yeah. Yeah, I should really keep saying that. Just, yeah. Yeah, if you're listening to this, you like it.
All right, well, let's go ahead and play the track. Again, this is Coroner off their new album, Dissonance Theory, and the track that Christian picked is called Symmetry.
Burning candles, burn them at both ends.
Every single episode, there's one. You hear the song, and it makes you want to go and listen to the whole album again, and that is what this track does for me. It's such a good album from beginning to end. I really don't know what else to say. There were other albums that I thought were better this episode, but not many. There's two that I enjoyed slightly more. I know there's at least one that you liked more. So, yeah, I mean, in a week full of great releases, it's still in the top 6.
And I have to say that, yes, there is one album that I like more than this one, but it's because of how fun it is. But if I was going straight off of just straight quality from songwriting to whatever, Coroner has the best album this week. There's just some serious talent level in how they construct songs. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, moving on. The next pick for the episode is mine, and it's from a band called Darah, Darah. They put out an album called Holier Than Thou. This is death metal from Singapore, and their debut album as well. These guys are unsigned. This is a fantastic death metal album that has lots of melodic elements, lots of technical elements. No two songs sound the same, so it was actually really hard for me to pick which track I wanted to play to kind of represent the album. I found myself returning to this one over and over again. I think it's really fun and dense and challenging. And I like the challenging aspect in albums sometimes when I know that it's going to take me multiple listens to really appreciate everything the album's trying to do. And I don't always get that. Sometimes a lot of the albums we talk about are just fun right from the get-go, and you can enjoy them without having to listen to them over and over again. But then other times we have albums like this one or like the Toma Room album from earlier this year that just get better the more you invest in it. And I feel like this Darah album is one that, with repeated listens and a lot of time invested, it's just one of those albums just keeps growing and improving the more you hear it. And I couldn't get enough of it. I listened to this at least 20 times. It's fantastic. What did you think of it, Christian?
Oh, I really like this one as well. I get a lot of Bloodbath vibes out of this.
Yeah, I do too.
You do too? Yeah. But my notes here, I just put down here, these boys ain't fucking around. I mean, from the first track to the last, this album just literally punches you in the face and dares you not to like it. There is not a single second of bloat on this album. This is just straight banging death metal. And again, another killer fucking death metal album. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just play the song, man. It's fucking awesome.
All right, I'll play the song. That's really all we can do.
Yeah.
Again, this is Darah off their album Holier Than Thou, and the track that I picked is called Futility.
This
Oh, that song's so
Man,
good. I love that.
It's so fucking good.
I love that riff that is kind of in the middle of that song. That's just like the guitar solo portion. Fuck, it's so good. Absolutely go check out this full album if you like that track, guys, because I think you'll enjoy all of it.
And where are these guys from again? Singapore?
Singapore. Yeah.
Really? That kind of surprises me because, well, I don't know.
There's not a lot of death metal bands coming from Singapore. Yeah.
So who knows? They might have a huge metal community, and I just have no idea.
That's possible. I mean, we keep discovering groupings of musicians from other parts of the world. Greece is obviously a hotbed. We talked about many times.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like in Singapore. If anybody knows if there's a big metal scene there, I'd be interested to learn what that's like. So feel free to reach out and let us know.
I mean, the only thing I really know about Singapore is you can be caned for spitting out your gum.
Yeah, they have a very clean city, and they like to keep it that way, and they have very strict laws about anything that negatively impacts their city, like litter. That's really all I know about it, too. I mean, it's not really taught in American schools what Singapore is like. I know two things. I know all that, and I know Darah kicks ass. So that's what I know about Singapore.
There you go. So if you're going to Singapore, look up Darah.
Yep.
See what they're up to.
All right. Moving on. The next album is one of Christian's picks, and an album that he and I agree is just killer fun from beginning to end.
We have the band Graveripper and their album From Welkin to Tundra. What a great name.
Yeah, I agree.
And this is some black / thrash / speed metal, and oddly enough, from Indianapolis, right here in the USA. This is their second album from Wise Blood Records. The track that I picked is New Gods, New Masters. And I mean, honestly, I love this entire album. I just had to pick one, and I just picked this song. I seriously could have picked any song on here.
I thought it was
all of them.
This is an album I listened to probably 30 times, right? I have this thing where I'm listening and I don't pay attention to track names. Like I just listen to the music. And then when you sent New Gods, New Masters, I was like, isn't that the name of the revocation of the album that just came out? And I was like, oh, you must have sent me a typo. And then I went and looked and I was like, oh no, it is actually the song name. And it's kind of funny to me that two bands within 2 weeks of each other released both an album and song name that has that in it. But I mean, it's a great title, so why not? This Graveripper album, though, is an absolute blast. Of all the albums that came out, this one was one I kept returning to because it is so much fun. Actually, all 6 of the albums we're talking about, I've listened to a lot over the last 2 weeks. Graveripper, though, it's something special. It kind of reminds me of that Doomsday album because it's hard to pigeonhole into one type of music. It's so much going on, and every track is a little bit different than all the other tracks, and they're all fun. They're all memorable. And I think if you're listening to this podcast, you'll love this album, no matter what your preferred genres are, because there's a little bit of something for everybody.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I absolutely knew this was going to be a pick for me after the very first listen. I absolutely love this style of blackened thrash, speed, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's just so damn catchy and fun, and we definitely need more fun in the world right now. Dear Lord. But they really nailed the atmosphere here. This sounds kind of cold and icy. You get that? Yeah.
Definitely.
And then I went back and listened to their debut, and I will say it's very good as well, but this is another level. They've leveled up here. This is, in my opinion, this is a much stronger album. And I mean, plain and simple, if you like Bewitcher, if you like Hellripper, if you like Midnight, you will absolutely love this album. I mean, if you can find fault with this, send me a message and let me know what it was, because I don't see how you could not like this.
I'm going to interject, right? So I'm not the hugest fan of Midnight. I like some Midnight stuff. Hellripper, I like most of their stuff. Bewitcher, I generally really like. I think this band might actually be better than all 3 of those.
You think so?
I think this album might be stronger than any album that any of those 3 bands have put out.
I don't know. Bewitcher's Curse Be Thy Kingdom is super fucking strong.
That might be the only one that might be the only one that rivals it, though. I mean, I like all of those bands, but I think this album is stronger than any single album that those bands have put out.
It would be close because I did not think there was a weak song on this entire album.
There's not. And it's only 33 minutes long, so there's not room for there to be a weak song. 10 songs, 33 minutes. It's just a fast, fun album that you can listen to and then repeat.
Yeah. Anybody listening to this is going to like this. I would be shocked if you don't.
Yeah,
So.
I completely agree. All right, let's go ahead and play the track. Again, this is Graveripper off their album From Welcome to Tundra, and the track that Christian picked is New Gods, New Masters.
Nebulous glare, hollow eyes, a piercing stare. Nuclear fire, igniting the spark. What a veil, a bottomless dark. Beating, ripping, dimensional rip. Devices beyond mankind's wits. Hardest forces inside of through time. Psychic warfare invading our minds. Creature, being, life on. Stars run. Creature. Being. Life on. Stars run. Subliminal comments come creeping in. Such a subtle, uncanny trend. Neural pathways filled with the dead. Fabric of light, eternally bent. Starfields, Jordan, celestial domain. Overlaying the content I write. Earthly, labyrinth, dehumanized. Reaching for existence, unrestrained by time. Creature. Being. Life on. Stars run. Creature. Being. Life on. Stars run.
Like I always say, what about that fucking riff, man? that riff that comes in about the 1 minute mark, I think it is. Fuck, that is so good. So fucking good.
Yeah, I couldn't get enough of this album, and I'm sure that it will end up relatively high on both of our lists when we get to the end of the year.
So too.
Which, speaking of, have you started working on yours? I know we're getting close. It's November now.
I have. I've started listening to stuff from, I think I got all of January and February gone through. The re-listens to try and, it's still a long process, man. It's
I know.
such, I feel bad if I don't put in effort into this, because these bands have lived with this, the music that they're putting out for, in some cases.
Years.
Yeah, Thormisa said 2017 was one of the songs that, on the new album. So, yeah, you should give them at least your attention. So, yeah, it's a long process, but it's definitely worth it, because everything that you re-listen to, you really liked. So
Yeah.
There isn't going to be anything on here that you're just kind of like, why'd I pick that? Everything that you picked is going to be like, fuck, that's a badass album right there. So
Yeah, I mean, I've pared down my list as the year's gone on. I have 485 albums that are contenders for my top 30. And so I've been going back through and re-listening to all those. And it's always a fun experience because you encounter albums that you've forgotten about. You encounter things that you really loved, but you didn't have enough time for. And then, of course, the obvious ones that you loved and knew were going to be high on your list just in the 2-week cycle that we were hearing them. So it's always a fun but tedious process, especially when we're listening to new stuff that's coming out. But I'm a little over halfway done with mine. Still got a lot to do.
Holy fuck.
I've been working on it for about a month.
Fuck.
It's a process. You're right. But I agree with you. We take this seriously and we care about the bands, and our end of year lists are very important to us because we want to provide a service to people that are trying to discover new music and help them really discover what we feel is the best of the best. So I take it seriously. I know you do too. And
yeah, there's so many good bands out there. So many.
Yeah, hopefully our listeners appreciate what we've done.
Yeah.
And speaking of end of the year lists and albums that are going to make it, my number one pick for the episode is the band Impermanence. They released an album called Anicca, Anicca. This is technical death and black metal from Poland. Their debut album, they've been around since 2023. I am madly in love with this album. I've listened to this album 50 plus times at this point. I keep going back to it, and it has an intro track, which is the only negative thing I can say about the album. The only negative thing I can say about it. The intro track is not exceptionally long. It's like a minute and 10 seconds, I think.
You know what's actually funny? I have in my notes, hey, an intro track that means something.
So the intro track, it's a minute and 22 seconds long, which is a pretty good length for an intro track. It's not so long that it becomes tedious, but it's also not so short that it isn't an issue. But the intro track leads into the second song very well. It just takes a little while to get there. That is my only complaint about this album. From track 2 until the end, it is just masterpiece after masterpiece of songs. And there's so much progression happening in each song that every single song sounds completely wildly different from everything you've heard before on the album. And some of them have great epic sounding solos. Some of them have like more quiet, calmer moments that explode. Some of them have, heavier, denser death metal kind of sounds. Some of them sound more like dissonant sort of black metal. It's just a wildly varied album that still manages to sound like it's one cohesive piece. And I fucking adore this thing. It is so good.
Did you deep dive into the lyrics at all? This here is a whole album about the search for meaning and fragility of human life, and talk about a topic that isn't normally covered in death metal. I give him props for that. Just completely out of left field as far as and I mean, we shouldn't, but we have a tendency to all right, this is a death metal album. It's going to be about death and destruction and whatever. And this here's a thrash album. It's going to be about war and whatever. And this here's a black metal album, Satan. You do have a tendency to do that. So when you come across something that has a lot deeper meaning, you're just kind of surprised by it a little bit, especially on pretty much a death metal album. So
the vocal stylings on the album are primarily a death metal style, but they're not gutturals or anything. It's just the death metal growls, but they're very intelligible. You can understand what's being sang in almost every single song. I mean, obviously I paid attention to the lyrics and I could hear the lyrics at every song. I just didn't go and find the lyric sheet and read it for any of them. So I guess when you said deep dive, that's what I meant. I do feel like black metal typically used to just be always Satan, and some bands like Mystic Circle are keeping that alive, but there's a lot more introspection in black metal these days than there used to be. There's tons and tons of black metal that's all about the human condition and soul searching and thinking about the meaning of life and just kind of pondering nature and things like that. And so it is kind of unusual to hear some of those lyrical themes in death metal, but these guys are also a black and death metal band. So I think taking that into consideration, it's not that much of a stretch. And regardless, it works incredibly well with the song structures they've composed. There's zero bloat on this album, except for maybe the first 30 seconds of the intro track, which I'm completely forgiving them for. I know we normally harp on intro tracks. We complain about them all the time. I don't completely hate this intro. It's fine. And everything else on the album more than makes up for it. Fairly certain this album is going to end up in my top 10. It's that good. And if you like progressive, technical death and black metal, I feel like you're going to absolutely love this album too. The hardest thing was picking the track to play because they are so wildly different. The one I ended up settling for was From Mirage to Lust, because it kind of runs the whole gamut, and there's so many different styles kind of illustrated throughout the song. So it almost feels like 3 or 4 different songs sort of pieced together. I think it's probably the best example of what you'll hear throughout the album, even though it's not everything.
Yeah. Yeah, just another fantastic album. It just keeps getting better and better, it seems.
Yeah. I like I said, I absolutely love this one. I wish they were releasing it on vinyl. They said right now they don't have any plans to. So that always sucks, but fingers crossed it'll happen one day.
Yeah, hopefully.
Anyhow, let's go ahead and play the track. Again, this is Impermanence off their new album, Annika, and the track is From Mirage to Lust. That is so fucking good.
Yeah, it is. Just all the tracks we played tonight are really good. This is just another strong week, like we said at the beginning. We're not bullshitting people.
So anyways, go support these guys. Check them out. Buy their album, their CD, or digitally on Bandcamp if you can. Tell them where you found the album. I've already been trying to talk to them about stuff, but hopefully they'll check out the show when we post it, because I want more from these guys, for sure.
Yep.
All right, well, that does it for our picks. Let's move into our honorable mentions, and I'll let Christian go first since he has a laundry list.
Yes, I do. I have 4 that I'm going to talk about from the last episode that I missed. There's a band called Blind Man. They have an album called After Rain. This is just hard rock, heavy metal from Tokyo, Japan. This is their 12th album on Walcour Records. If you like bands like Europe or Royal Hunt or Fair Warning, you're going to dig these guys. They have that very late 80s, early 90s hard rock kind of feel. So if you dig that, you're going to like this. Then we have Anthology. The album is called Frozen Sun. We have melodic power metal from Zilina, Slovakia. This is their 3rd album. They are unsigned. If you like bands like Delane, Ancient Bards, or, believe it or not, I actually know a band from Slovakia that sounds kind of similar. They're a band called Within Silence. So if you dig that, you are going to actually dig this. Then Monolith, and that is spelled Monolyth, because there are roughly 8,000 bands on Metallum with the name Monolith.
Yeah, so, we had another one a few episodes ago called Monoliyth.
Yep. So that kind of tells you all you need to know. The album is called Seeds of Perseverance. We have thrash metal that has like a little bit of power metal in it. And this is their 4th album from Ellie Promotion. And I forgot to mention, they are from France. And I guess the best way to, I couldn't really come up with a for fans of with this one, because they do sound kind of original. Think Nevermore meets Control Denied with a touch of Symforce or Anubis Gate. And you're going to get close to what these guys really sound like. And then we have Victimarum. I'm going to butcher this. Oh my God. Sightsiemen, Soiden, Velosa. Sightsiemen, Soiden, Velosa. This is black metal from Turku, Finland. This is their debut from Signal Rex. If you dig Migla, Hordem Rife, or Onskapt, you're going to like this band. And we really should have mentioned this, because this was actually really close for me to be a pick. I don't know how the fuck I left this off the honorable mention list.
Yeah, it was close to being a pick for me too.
Really good.
It's an extremely strong, black metal album in the vein of Migla or MGLA, whatever you want to say. Yeah. If you like that style, don't skip this one. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So now we're going to get to this week. This one here, we have Afski and Fleiskab. Black metal from Copenhagen, Denmark. This is their 4th on Eisenwald Records. And if you like Agalok, Ulver, or Drudg, you're going to dig Afski. I wasn't 100% sold on this.
I have such a hard time with this album. Like, I like so many elements of it. Yeah. I mean, I like other Afski albums. Just that first track with the weird, kind of shrill, folksy cleans. Every single time it comes on, it takes me out of the experience, and then I just can't enjoy it. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I don't even know how to describe it, but every time that comes on, I just have to turn it off.
I won't go that far. I don't care for it either. I just skip past that track, to be honest. But I could see other people digging this one. If you've liked Afski in the past, maybe you'll dig this one too.
The rest of the songs are fine. I like most of the rest of the songs. It's just that first track, like just starting it the way they do. Because I actually had this one in my playlist right beneath Impermanence. So like Impermanence would play and I'd be like, oh man, that was kick ass. And then Afski would start and I'd be like, oh my God, it's that first track again. And it happened over and over again. So it created a grudge, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, next I have Battle Beast, Steelbound, hard rock / power metal from Helsinki, Finland. I'm going to guess most people know who Battle Beast is. This is their 7th album on Nuclear Blast. For fans of Beast and Black, Hammerfall, Sabaton, and I got to say, I'm getting close to being out. This is really poppy. Really.
Yeah, it was too much for me too. I like some of the previous Battle Beast stuff, but I couldn't handle this one.
This one here, maybe if you thought that they were leaning a little too pop-oriented, it'll probably hit the same way as it did for Justin and I. If you like that direction, you're probably going to like it because it's catchy. It's just very light. So take that for what it's worth. Then we have Hellbear, the album called Darker Fates. We have thrash metal from Manchester, England. Their 2nd album. They are unsigned. If you like Exodus, Forbidden, or Onslaught, or even Evil, you're going to dig Hellbear. Then we have Sabaton's new one, Legends, power metal from Fallon, Sweden. 13th album from Better Noise Music. I honestly think that Sabaton gets way more hate than they deserve. They do what they do. They're not trying to be anything that they're not.
It's fine. If you like Sabaton, you'll like this album.
Yeah.
If you don't like Sabaton, you won't like this album.
You're not going to like them. And I like Sabaton. They're fine. Then we have Glasya, Glasya. And I spell that out because if you like symphonic metal at all, this is one of the best ones I've heard all year. This is fantastic. The album is called Fear. They're from Lisbon, Portugal. This is the 3rd album on Scarlet Records. And if you like Nightwish, Sonata Arctica, or Eden Bridge, you're going to like Glasya. This is a fantastic fucking album. And I'm not one to really rave about symphonic metal albums. So then we have Syntage, Unbound Triumph, heavy / speed metal from Leipzig, Germany. The 2nd album on High Roller Records. And if you know anything about High Roller Records, you know that this is a perfect fucking band for High Roller Records. And if you like bands like Iron Maiden, Wolf, or Skullfist, you are definitely going to like Syntage. Then we have In La Mine, Inveteratus, thrash / death metal from Italy. This is their debut album on Rotshot Records. If you like Warbringer, Chryzix, Morbid Angel in their thrashier moments, certainly not that fucking new album. Woo! You're going to like this. Then we have, coming to the end, it's long, Jet Jaguar, the album Severance, heavy / speed metal from Cancun, Mexico. They're 2nd, and they are on Steamhammer, which kind of surprised me because Steamhammer usually has more well-known bands. I was kind of surprised, and I actually looked this band up to see who's in it because this sounds super, super fucking polished. And the guitarist on this thing is insanely fucking good. Just listen to the first solo and the first song, and you will see exactly what I mean. And if you like Skullfist, Enforcer, or Night Demon, you're going to dig Jet Jaguar. And then finally, I know it's been a while. Finally, we have Scythe Beast, Anthem of the Rotten. We have mellow deaths mixed with a little bit of thrash from Deepholz, Germany. This is their 3rd album. They are unsigned. And if you like bands like God Dethroned, The Crown, Night Rage, or Carnal Forge, you are going to like Scythe Beast. And that is an insanely long list of honorable mentions. So if you can't find something to like in there, we're not doing our jobs.
It wasn't quite as long as last episode's, and I don't have as many as last time, so we'll get through these a lot faster, I believe.
All right.
But moving on to my honorable mentions, first up is the band UAR. I'm not entirely sure how they pronounce it, but it's UAAR. They released an album called Galger Og Bran. This is black / thrash metal from Norway, their debut album. And honestly, I'm not even sure that description is right. That's just what Metallum has for them as black and thrash. I think it's more of like an atmospheric kind of black and thrash. I don't really know what I would compare it to, but you could almost kind of imagine if Immortal made an atmospheric black metal album rather than what they traditionally do. That's the kind of sound you would get. I liked this album a lot, and this was almost a pick for me. I came back and listened to it at least 10 times. It's really strong, so if that sounds like something you dig, I'd say check it out. Next is the band Tribal Gaze. They put out an album called In Vain Brilliance. This is death metal from Texas, their second full-length album since 2020. It's very oppressive death metal, like super heavy, just death metal that grabs you and doesn't let go. These guys are kind of new to the scene. This is my first exposure to them, but I like this album a lot. Did you hear this one, Christian?
Which one again?
Tribal Gaze.
Tribal Gaze. I don't think I heard that.
Oh,
That doesn't sound familiar.
You should definitely check it out. I think you'll dig it.
I missed one.
Next is the band Argesk. They put out an album called Moonlight Pyromancy, which I love that title. Melodic black metal from England, their second full-length album since 2017. This kind of sounds like in the same vein as Moonlight Sorcery or Stormkeep to some degree. It's a little bit more atmospheric than those, kind of like more drawn out sounding, but with the keyboards and everything that's going on, those are probably the closest comparison kind of sounds I could give this. But it's definitely an album that could use some editing, I think, is the only real complaint I have about it. Like, some of the songs are exceedingly long, and if they trim them down just a little bit, I think it would be a much stronger album. But it's only their second one. So, I mean, they're definitely going in the right direction. And if you like those bands that I just mentioned, I think you'll dig this too. Next is the band Wretched. They put out an album called Decay. This is melodic technical death metal from North Carolina, their fifth full-length album since 2005, and my first exposure to them. This album is very dense as well. If you like technical death metal that has melodic parts in it, you will dig this. Did you hear this one?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a little bit bloated. It definitely had its moments. If it wasn't going to be an honorable mention for you, I probably would have had to bump something on my list because it was already too fucking long. But yeah.
That's fair. Next is the band Aurora Ortus, and that's Ortus. They put out an album called Against Ourselves. They're categorized as black and doom metal from Brazil, but I actually think they're more kind of a straightforward post-black band than they are doom. It's just kind of slow in a couple of places on the album. This is their second full-length album since 2019. This is an album that I kind of feel like if you spent a lot of time with it, it would improve throughout the year, but we're already in October, so I'm not sure I can devote as much time to it as I would need to get to the point where I love it as much as I think I could. It's definitely a grower, but I thought it was pretty fantastic just on the first listen anyways. So if you like that kind of post-black, emotionally driven, slower paced kind of music, I think you'll dig that. Next is the band Ear, IRR. They put out an album called Remains Remain. This is black metal from Switzerland, their debut album since 2023. These guys are currently unsigned. This is like oppressive black metal. The production value is extremely high. It's one of those that makes you feel bad when you're listening to it, even though the music is fantastic. So if you're looking for something that's very oppressive, I think that's the best descriptor I could possibly give this album. It's very good at that. And then lastly, the band Bonginator. They put out an album called Retro Death, and I did not expect to like this album as much as I do. It's a mixture of death metal and hardcore from Massachusetts, their second full-length album since 2021. The whole album is based on 80s movies, and mostly horror movies that I love. They have these weird little electronic keyboard tracks that like lead you into each one, and they have snippets from the movies that they're writing songs about. And every single song is about a different horror movie. There's one about The Fog, there's one about The Thing, and I had a lot of fun with it. I think if you're a 80s horror buff and you also like death metal that has like fun, quirky elements, you'll really enjoy this. It reminded me a lot of the Coffin Feeder album from earlier this year that kind of did something similar. And I love that album. I still listen to it all the time. So
Didn't Aborted do one like that last year too? That had horror movies in it?
Yeah, that was last year, I think.
Yeah, last year.
Vault of Horrors, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So I mean it's nothing groundbreaking, but it is really fun. And so if that sounds appealing to you, I think you'll dig it. So
I will say on this album, it's easily the Bonginator album I've enjoyed the most. I've heard this band before, and they've never really been my cup of tea. I didn't hate them or anything, but they were just never my thing. But this album, I actually kind of dug. It wouldn't have been a pick, but yeah, it's a very solid album.
Yeah, it's definitely worth an honorable mention at least.
Yeah.
So anyways, that does it for honorable mentions. Let's go ahead and move into our theme for the episode. And so for this week's episode, we decided to talk about streaming as our theme. I'm sure anybody that's been involved in social media and the metal communities for the past couple of weeks has seen the mass exodus that is occurring with people leaving Spotify. And that's mostly because Spotify has been running ICE recruitment ads on their lower tier subscription levels where you actually hear the ads. For a lot of people that are premium subscribers that don't hear the ads, we had no idea this was going on. And of course, most metalheads, I think, kind of fall into a left-leaning political stance. I mean, there is some right-wingers, obviously, but I've heard way more metal bands saying fuck ICE during their performances than I have anything else. And so I don't support what ICE is doing. I don't think Christian does either. I don't think a lot of our listeners do. I totally understand that being a catalyst for people wanting to leave the platform because obviously you don't want your money going to support something that you don't agree with. The issue comes into play because there's really not any other streaming platform out there that does things as well as Spotify. There's Apple Music, which is somewhat comparable, but again, Apple has some problematic things with them too. Also, Apple is exclusive to iPhones. So if you're a Samsung user or something, you don't even have that as an option. So we've been talking to a lot of other metalheads online, a lot of people in our group chat with other podcasters and YouTubers that we collaborate with and everything. And it seems like the big competitors that are appearing are Tidal, which has been around for a long time, Quobuzz, Deezer, and then, of course, Bandcamp has been around forever. YouTube Premium appears to be an option for some people. Ampwall is one that we mentioned before, kind of as a Bandcamp competitor. But each one of those has their own individual sort of issues that don't make them quite as good as Spotify, unfortunately. So I understand people's motivation to leave Spotify, and I think that for the average listener, it makes sense for not just political reasons or not agreeing with what the company's doing, but also because of how Spotify tends to treat artists. I mean, they really don't pay artists anything for their streams unless they hit massive numbers. And some of these other services do pay their artists a lot more. I know Tidal does a much higher percentage than Spotify. And I think Quobuzz does even more per stream compared to what the big ones do. But for Christian and I, we're kind of in a weird position because we record this podcast and we talk about all this music, and we're in a situation where we need to listen to almost everything that gets released on the Thursday night that it gets released. And all these other services, they may have 40% or 60% of that, but Spotify has 90 to 95% of everything that gets released on the day that it comes out. And so for us, it's a hard situation because we don't have the other option. We don't have any alternative to switch to.
Yeah. But let's be 100% honest here. If this company is $1 billion company, they've probably done some shady shit somewhere. I don't think you make that kind of money without fucking over somebody at some point. But let's not lose the plot here. Simply, there isn't any streaming services that pay artists 100% fairly. There's some that do better than others, but I looked it up, and supposedly Quobuzz pays the most out of all the popular, quote-unquote, popular streaming services, because if you look at Tidal and Deezer and all that, they are the highest paying. But it's still not a lot. It's just not. Far and away, the best way, if you want to support any band, is you buy physical copies. That, especially off of Bandcamp. Bandcamp at least gives them 90% of whatever they make on any sort of whatever they sell. If they sell the digital stream, they get 90% of that.
They get 100% on Bandcamp Fridays.
Yeah, and you have that too. The only issue that I have with Bandcamp is you have to keep all that music on your phone. I can't just log in and stream it just every time you buy something or whatever. It's
also unrealistic if we had to buy even the digital versions of the 120 albums that come out every Thursday, they're not all 99 cents for the album. Sometimes they're like $6 or $10 or whatever it might be. Yeah. I can't afford to drop that much money every single Thursday I love supporting bands, but not every single album I listen to is worth supporting. If I hear 120 albums, there's a good chance 40 of them are going to be garbage. And we don't talk about those bands. We try not to be negative on the show. But I mean, why would I pay money for something I've never even heard? Now, if it's a band I love and they put out an album that I absolutely support, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to rush to see if I can find the vinyl and buy a physical copy. I'm always willing to support bands I love. I want their t-shirts. I want their vinyls. I want to go and see them live if I can. So I have zero problem paying money to support bands that are putting out quality material. But the question is, how do you discover that material? And we've talked about this before. Streaming is pretty much the only real source for that. And so we've been talking, like I said, with all these other podcasters and YouTubers and metal fans, and there's been a mass exodus. And I think for the average listener, switching to something like Tidal or Cubase or whatever, they don't listen to as much music as Christian and I listen to. They don't listen to everything that comes out. They're like, oh, I saw a new Coroner album came out. I saw a new Testament album came out. I like those bands. I'm going to listen to those bands. And then they go and they listen to those 2 albums. I'm sure that those bands are big enough to have their albums populate on Cubase, right? If they're like, I want to look up Darah, who's a death metal band from Singapore, it might be there, or it might not. It might not be there the Thursday it gets released. It might populate a week later, or it may never show up. So for discovering new music, I don't think these other smaller services are there yet to be able to provide that utility for the listeners that demand more access. But for the average listener, I think they're fine. So it's kind of a weird situation for us to be in, because I would love to move to a different platform, one that more aligns with my personal beliefs, but I don't really see that there is one out there that can accommodate the needs in order to continue doing the show. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I will absolutely continue to support bands that I love financially by buying their albums and t-shirts and going to concerts. And I mean, that's really all you can do. But as far as discovering new music, there's really not a lot of options. It's only the big 2, unfortunately.
And you also got to take into account that, all right, Apple's not great, Spotify's not great, but their apps just fucking work. You don't have problems with it. Their stuff will work from day one. You don't have to download something or whatever, or need a tutorial to get it to fucking work or anything like that. They already have a basic subscriber base already. You know what I mean? I had Apple Music for about 3 months because I had one of those 3 months for free thing. And I liked it okay. I thought Spotify was a little bit easier to navigate. And that's
Spotify's
kind of why I
interface is the
went
best.
there.
I've used Apple Music. I've used a couple of the other platforms too. I feel like Spotify's interface is the best. And there's also, it's a double-edged sword with Spotify on this one particular aspect of it, because YouTube Premium is probably the best alternate option. And I've seen that pitched by a couple of our friends. And yes, YouTube Premium, sometimes they'll even get the album streams early compared to what we would get with the releases. So there's definitely some benefits there. But YouTube doesn't do any sort of content screening like Spotify does. And while you might think that's better in some terms, like with censorship and everything, Spotify is pretty good about not putting Nazi music on their platform. I mean, it makes our job easier because we don't have to spend as much time vetting albums, because when we're reading everything off of a list, there's no discerning facts about what the band is or what their views are. And I mean, we intentionally try not to support or promote those kind of bands on the show. We don't agree with them, and we don't want to support those ideologies. We don't support bands that are like that or promote them. So when I'm listening on Spotify and I'm making my playlist every week, I think there's only been like a couple that have popped up that were Nazi bands or whatever. And then after I discovered that, we removed them. I still do some investigation into what the bands are. But with YouTube Premium, you would have no way of knowing, because everything would be there.
Yeah.
And so you'd have to do a lot more work screening the bands. So that's just one other aspect to consider.
I found something while I was doing a little bit of research for this. And I found, people talking about it. And this person posted, I think it was on Reddit, but this person said, and I'm going to quote, his name is Brennan Huff 34. He posted on here, "I'm sorry, I don't want to spam this thread, but I work at CODA Music. And we are anti-Trump and anti-tech bros, anti-tech bros who own Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, and Amazon. He says here, we are for artists and we put our money where our values are. We are small and we need the support to make a positive change for artists. And part of your subscription, you can send $1 of your subscription fee directly to the artist every month, bypassing the labels. So artists love us, but need your help. Tell everyone, and they are on codamusic.me. So, that's a great fucking idea. Now, obviously it wouldn't work for me and Justin. They're just not going to have the amount of bands on there that we would need. But for regular listener, give it a shot. Check it out. And I'm going to look at it and see what it's all about. Look into it probably tomorrow. And I don't know. Hopefully it'll be something that grows or maybe Spotify can take that idea a little bit and you can dictate $1 a month of your subscription fee goes to this band or that band or whatever, but there's probably a shit ton of work to build something like that, but I'm sure it's not as easy as I'm making it sound. But
I know that there's been a massive exodus. They've lost, I don't remember what the exact figure is, but they've lost several percentage points of their listener base, people leaving because of the ads and because they came back and said they weren't going to stop running the ads even after people started leaving. So people are putting their money where their mouth is, and they're trying to not spend with companies that don't align with their values. And I think that's great. And I hope that it does affect some positive change. I mean, Spotify definitely can afford to pay their artists more. They could certainly do more to support the artists than they're currently doing. And honestly, they could get advertising from somebody else other than a widely hated organization in the US. I don't know. Until a better alternative comes, I don't think there's anything we can do as far as our choice for streaming. But I encourage anybody out there that is looking to make a choice to look at these other platforms, and maybe there is something that will work well for you. I just wish that there was a more artist-forward, ethical alternative to the big two that was out there for us.
And just so you know, I look at this stuff quite a bit. Look at different streaming services just because, like I said, I had Apple Music to start with and moved to Spotify. But I look at all the other ones, to be 100% honest, Spotify is the biggest, and it's not even remotely close. Apple is kind of close, but they're not really close either. Spotify dominates music streaming, and we're kind of stuck here. I wish I could go elsewhere, but you don't really have that option. If you're just like you said, if you're just an average listener who just wants to listen to some Metallica here or there, yeah, you can go just about anywhere. But if you really dig into the underground or whatever, you're going to have to go to Spotify because they're the only ones that are really going to carry it.
Or be wealthy enough to afford to buy everything on Bandcamp or Ampwall.
Yeah, or do that, yeah.
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 All right. That's all I've got about the streaming. I thought it would just be worth talking about because it is kind of big news in the metal community and in the streaming community on all the social media platforms. It's definitely been talked about a lot the last couple of weeks. And just for as many people as say that it doesn't matter and they don't care, they're just going to keep continuing with Spotify. There's a lot of people that do. And hopefully the companies are seeing an impact from all the people that are leaving and will make some changes that will benefit the artists. I mean, because really, that's the big draw for me. Like, I would rather see the artists continue to get better support from Spotify or from whatever platform they go to. If a competitor could rise up that could support just as much music as Spotify does, that would be fantastic. That would solve the issue, I think.
I would switch.
We're still quite a ways away from that, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I do not like Spotify as a company. I like their service. Their service is fucking excellent. Them as a company, not so much. How they treat artists, not so much. They do make the best mousetrap.
Yeah.
You're kind of stuck here.
Agreed. But if anybody out there knows about something that we don't, feel free to reach out and let us know. We're very interested in hearing about alternatives you may know of that we're not aware of. So let us know.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
All right. Well, moving on to our pickups for the episode. Have you picked up anything cool recently, Christian?
I have. I picked up Cognitive Malevolent Thoughts of Hastened Extinction and Witherfall Curse of Autumn. Both of those albums I was able to pick up locally, which awesome.
Nice.
The new Kriegsgrave came in, and I picked up I pre-ordered it, and now I'm not a big fan of the album. The new Rage album, A New World Rising. It's okay. Not great. Probably should have listened to it before I bought it. But what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, I haven't bought a whole lot. I did have my Wounds of Recollection album come in from Fiad. Obviously, my Thormesis album that you sent came in. I might have mentioned that on the last episode. New things that I have ordered. I went ahead and ordered the 1 of 9 album on vinyl that we're going to discuss on the next episode, as well as the Bliss of Flesh album, Metempsychosis. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bliss of Flesh or not, but they're a French black and death metal band, and their last album, Tyrant, was my album of the year in 2019. So I'm extremely excited about that album. It was supposed to come out last week, which means it should have been on this episode, but it didn't for some reason. It looks like it got moved to sometime in November. So I am eagerly anticipating that because I expect it's probably going to further derail my end of year list. At least the 3 singles they've released have been fantastic. So very much looking forward to getting that vinyl in too. And that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, that's all I have.
All right, then let's move into our extreme submission for the episode. So this one comes from a band called Soulfracture. They're a progressive death and thrash metal band from England. Their first full length came out in 2007. And they have a new EP coming out November 7th this year called The Leader of the Exploited. So I put out a call on Threads and Blue Sky just inviting people to join our Discord community if they wanted to. And I guess the guitarist for this band joined our Discord and pitched the new album to us. And we got to hear the first single from it. And wow, it is a absolutely killer track. It is fantastic progressive death metal. Killer riffs. Just a super fun song. So I'm very excited to hear the whole thing. I haven't heard the full EP yet, but just based on this one track, I'm looking forward to it. What did you think of it,
It is
Christian?
so good. It is so fucking good. I would say it's probably the best submission track we've had so far.
It's definitely one of them.
Not saying any of them were bad. Yeah, it's definitely up there. And stellar production. This sounds super professional. Like, if this would have been an album that would have been on my list or whatever, it probably would have made either a pick or at least an honorable mention. So, yeah, it's a fantastic song. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I mean, from the very first listen.
Yeah, and I've gone back and heard it like 4 or 5 times at this point in preparation for the show, and it's definitely a track you can keep listening to, and it's memorable, and it pulls you back in, so I'm looking forward to hearing the whole thing. But again, the band is called Soulfracture. The EP that is going to release on the 7th is called The Leader of the Exploited, and the track that we're going to play is the title track from the EP, also called The Leader of the Exploited. So we hope you guys enjoy this. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media. You can find us at Harsh Vocal Site pretty much everywhere. If you'd like to join our Discord, links are posted on most of our social media platforms on a regular basis. And then if you have any good ideas for other streaming options, please reach out and let us know. But otherwise, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks with a bunch of new great music.
And hey, tell your friends.
Yeah, definitely. Keep
See
spreading
ya.
the word. All right, bye guys.
Disbelief, I feel so frustrated. Are you fucking You are truly hated.